Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. Dr. Etef DJ Kavum is going to start off the show right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. We're going to kick this party off with DJ Etef DJ Kavum.
I got so much seats, I got no more land. Pull up on your block in that veggie van. Keep my broccoli local like I always did. Give me your bucket or two, watch me complain of the streets. I got so much seats, I got no more land. Pull up on your block in that veggie van. Keep my broccoli local like I always did. This that eco hip hop, healthy for them cat.
Yo, my veggie so fresh, fit so fresh, garden so clean, grown with the best, rose in my hood, throwing up the X, dirt stay wet, flex, 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 got a pocket full of seeds, what's next? Farmers markets always gonna have the fresh, look at the way that they eat, look at the way that they eat, you ain't finished your plate, why are you falling asleep? Never too late, be who you needed to be. Meet me out in the wood, ready to plant in the tree. Homie, I'm good.
Big green growing, big green.
Sprout that life.
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 Big green growing.
Sprout that life.
Big green growing.
Sprout that life.
Big green growing, big green.
Sprout that life.
Big green growing, big green.
Sprout that life. I'ma make you think twice when you pull up on the corner store. What's the shelf life of your food? They say,
I don't know.
why you eat that processed food? They say, I don't know. Why you never try the fresh juice? They say, I don't know. I got gold grapes with the gold carrots. Rolling tower gardens with romaine lettuce. Rolled on yams ASAP, always for the fam. Played it up like a chef. Post one for the gram like.
Green growing, big green.
Sprout that life.
Big 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 green growing,
Sprout that life.
big green growing.
Sprout that life.
Big green growing, big green.
Sprout that life.
Big green growing, big green.
Sprout that life.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, DJ Kavum.
Check. Hey, brother, can you turn this front monitor on for me? Yo, 1 2 1 2. All right, so check it out. My name is Etef Vida, also known as DJ Kavum Motivation. I am an environmental hip hop artist, pretty much. You can call it that, you know. I'm also a culinary climate action activist, vegan chef, producer, midwife. I have a PhD in urban ecology. My goal is to use music for social change. And pretty much my style is just to show people, you know, what you can do with hip hop. You know, hip hop has been used as a multi-billion-dollar industry for sex, drugs, and violence. My goal is to use it to talk about redefining the image of wealth in hip hop, right? But not just hip hop, just in the world, and how we can show sustainability could be fresh, fly, jazzy, and cool. So with that being said, you know, represent with the Earth Guardians crew, you know what I'm saying? What's up, love? You know what I'm saying? Yo, we dropping seeds on them, you know what I'm saying? The newest album is in packets of seeds because I realize that it's important that we, you know, sequester the carbon in urban atmospheres because at the same time, we need to go ahead and get that cooperative economics, show people how to get their sprout game. You already know. A tray of sprouts, $30. Like $2 pack of seeds. Like that's a good hustle for people in the hood who trying to get off the drug economy. We're talking about cooperative economics. We're talking about, you know, stopping the redlining and all those other issues that really affect the hood because people don't have access to recycling, compost, and waste diversion, let alone holistic health. And their environmental issues most of the time look like police brutality, looks like, lack of healthy food options. So we're basically gonna create that option through music and culture. With that being said, I don't know if we're ready for the second video, but this one gives you a kind of a shout out to my hood in the 5 Points, Denver, and you can see where we at. Check it out, it's called Cool to Live. With that being said, peace, follow me on the gram, one love.
I'm a DJ in your town, looking for direction, matter of fact, the produce section. Can I get more? On the way to school, walking by the prison door. Plus 2 liquor stores and a dog park. Talk about an eyesore when the post park. Have you ever seen a collard green when they grow up? No, show enough. But why they murder kings though? Because they scared of a brother who knows how to grow. Plus you got the hip hop dress, no process. Only eat that vegan food. I digest deeper than a subway. See me in the underground, living in the earthship, living off my urban sound. Gotta keep it fresh and get some land and maintain. Cause everywhere I go, see things ain't the same. Everywhere I go, son, things ain't the same.
And it's cool, 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 so cool, and it's cool to live, and it's cool, so cool, and it's cool, and it's cool, and it's cool, so cool, and it's cool to live.
Keep your head high and the struggle don't fall out. Keep your health tight, be ready to ball out. Speak truth to power, we got to move now. We gotta maintain, this ain't the same now. Tell you used to let her drink, it ain't the same now. Natural gas up in the water, make your faucet flame out. You want some change now? You want some change now? Hotter than the sun's core, drilling for the oil, fracking at the earth's core. Good thing we all stood up to that Keystone mess. Grow a garden for stress with echinacea. And rush the sage for Opalanga on that raw food diet. Have you checked the price of cancer? Maybe you should try it. I'm from the old school, that's what them elders say. Mentally free, but still eat like slavery. Digitally, I'm trying to see 2020 and beyond.
Ceilings growing of the tree stops. It's Big Bang framing when the seed pops its shell. The tide ebbs and swells. We can't feel it from the cell. They opened up a jail, closed down the school. But keep your cool, son. Not letting the heat wave make you sweat is rule 1. Jewels won't turn to sustenance and food when the warming of the globe is done.
And it's cool, 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 so cool, and it's cool to live. So cool, and it's cool, and it's cool, and it's cool, so cool, and it's cool to live. And it's cool to live. And it's cool to live.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up. You can follow him on Instagram at IETEF. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Laura O'Connor. She is Planet 911 and Creative Visions. Let's give it up for Laura O'Connor.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. And I actually am going to have the honor and sheer privilege of introducing a brilliant visionary woman who models what intergenerational, intersectional mentoring, support, and alliance building is. Her name is Kathy Eldon. She's the founder of Creative Visions, which is partnering with EarthX to found Planet 911. I'm going to let her tell you about that, but first we're going to roll a video about Creative Visions. Video, we rolling? No? Okay. Kathy Eldon, come on up. She's been doing this for 20 years. She's going to tell us about Creative Visions a little bit, and then we'll roll a video.
Oh, we'll roll the video later. Okay. Okay, no worries. All right, first of all, I'm going to be a little embarrassing here. All right. Anybody in this room, would you raise your hands if you were conscious during the 60s? I mean, like a lot. Yeah, okay, good. Jane, thank you for it. Michael, good. Okay, yeah, up, Pat. And you over there, good. Oh, yes, Denise, thank you very much. Not everybody was actually conscious during the 60s. There was a lot of stuff going on, and I don't want to talk about it in front of all you young people, because I know you're very, very innocent in this generation. But we in the 60s, we got off our backsides. We protested, we resisted, we spoke loudly and clearly about all that was going on and all that was wrong. But it was really funny, because we were told, don't trust anybody over the age of 30. That was a mantra. It wasn't the Beatles, it wasn't Abby Hoffman, it was an environmental activist who told us never trust anybody over the age of 30. And you know what? They were right, because the people over 30 were not getting it. They were not listening to us. They were sort of ignoring us and protesting our resistance. So we had to do it ourselves, and we did. We were very noisy, and we made a lot of progress. But then, dang blast it, we all turned 30. And we lost the plot. We got complacent, we got greedy, we sort of gave up, and then the 90s happened, and then, oh my gosh, and the world went to hell in the handbasket. So now here we are, all these years later, looking at you youth in here. But I sort of know the power of youth. I know a lot about it, because I had a son named Dan and a daughter named Amy, and they grew up in Africa. And they were surrounded by the most amazing, creative, active people. And when they saw a problem, they said, I see that problem, I'm going to solve it. And they rolled up sleeves and they found solutions. Now, sometimes those solutions were not necessarily legal. They didn't ask permission, they didn't get licenses, but they made things happen. And it really inspired my son, Dan, who at the age of 14, and I see some maybe 14, 15-year-old, 12, 13 here, Dan was so inspired by what he'd seen that he had a friend who was really grew up in the poorest part of Nairobi, and she needed a heart operation. So he decided he was going to raise money. So he had wild parties in my backyard, and I couldn't say anything because they were raising money for charity for Atieno. And he raised the money, and they got the heart operation for Atieno. So that was one person. When he was about 16. He had a Maasai family that needed help. There wasn't enough money for school fees. So he would go out to the Maasai woman's hut, and he would buy this jewelry, and he took it back, and then he sold it to everybody he knew. We were all covered, bedecked with Maasai jewelry, but he got those kids to school. So he started with one, he moved to a family. And then, when he was about 19 years old, he heard that there was a refugee camp in Malawi that needed help. So he got together 15 of his friends, and they went across Africa to bring aid to this refugee camp. It changed the lives of everybody on that trip, and one of the people on that trip was Christopher Nolan. Do you know that name? Batman, yeah, okay. He's the biggest director in the world practically now. So, okay, he went from one to family to a community, and then when he was 21 years old, he bundled up his cameras. He was a photographer. He bundled up his cameras and he took off for Somalia because he'd heard there was a terrible famine in Somalia and nobody knew about it. So he took the photographs, and the photographs actually went around the world and they launched a global movement, an aid movement that saved the lives of literally hundreds of thousands of people. Imagine how that would feel. You're 21 years old and you did something with your camera and it lit the world afire. So Dan went back for month after month to Somalia to tell that story. But tragically, the country spiraled into a terrible civil war. And at the end, on July 12th, 1993, Dan, age 22, together with 3 of his dear friends and colleagues, was stoned to death by a mob in Somalia. So that's the kind of thing, and bad things happen all the time, but what are you going to do with it? And it took me a long time, but I figured out that I had to transform that into something positive, and we started a foundation called Creative Visions, and it's all about supporting creative activists, people who are using that creativity for good, that spark that we all have inside of us. So we've worked with hundreds of projects and productions, and one of the ones I'm most proud about is Slater Jewel Kempker. Where is Slater Jewel Kempker? There she is. Okay, this kid over here. I met her when she was 2. Come up here with me. I need help. These are scary people. So I met Slater, who was wearing a hat at the time, at the age of 2, and she became a filmmaker for my hero. She was making beautiful films, and then she decided that the most important thing in the world was climate change, and from the age of 15, she traveled the world to every single climate change, Rio, God knows what all. Every time I saw her, she was heading somewhere else. And we were able to help Slater a bit. We helped her with tools and resources, with connections to interesting people, with money, trying to get her voice. It wasn't about telling her what to do, because she knew exactly what to do, but helping her be able to amplify her voice so that one day she could actually stand on this stage and knock us sideways with her language. So we realized, actually, in large part through Slater, that the most important issue facing us, and we face all sorts of issues at Creative Visions, everything from sex trafficking and women, gender, you name it. But the most important thing that we can be dealing with right now is the environment. So we've created this organization, this coalition of organizations specifically around youth and climate change. We have Earth Guardians, and I'm just so blown away by Chacheska and his mom and all that they're doing. We have Hip Hop Generation. We have a number of really interesting organizations, but we need you as part of this. We need your youth organizations. We need your adult organizations, you know what I mean. We need intergenerational things going on, because we have to be able, this time round, to trust people over the age of 30, okay? We need everybody on board for this one. I want to thank our CEO over here, Pat Chandler, Lora, right there, Lora O'Connor, who is our wonderful partnerships right here, and Mega Kagadakia, wherever Mega is. And right now, here's what we are. You can read it for yourself, but we are not going to tell you people, you youth people, what to do. You know what to do. But we're going to stand by you. We're going to help you with resources, please God, with money, with contacts, with connections, with changing laws, and we love you dearly, okay? So thank you to all of you. And if you're feeling discouraged, Teddy Roosevelt said it wonderfully. He said, do what you can with what you have, where you are. Just start with that. And the other thing Goethe said is, whatever you can do or believe you can do, begin it now. Genius has boldness, power, and magic. Begin it now. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And we're so excited. Planet 911 has several partnerships, and it's all about partnership. And we're weaving a web, and we're supporting existing groups. And we have several partners that are actually here. The Climate Mobilization Project is here, and of course, you know Earth Guardians are here. We're going to hear a little bit from Earth Guardians, and then we're actually also going to connect everyone to each other so that we can hear who's all in the room. So we want to know who's all here, because we know there's amazing, fabulous people here, and we get to hear from everyone in a little bit. So meanwhile, we're going to roll this short video about Earth Guardians, and then we're going to hear from Emily, Marlo, and Chetescott about what they're doing, what they're offering, and what they might be needing, because this is all about exchange here. What are we bringing to the table, and what are we looking to exchange resources of all kinds, wisdom. Let's roll the video.
I think one of the most important things that we need to do in the world is help people understand how much power we have in our decisions we make every single day. The food that we eat, the clothes that we wear, the way we get around, you know, the amount of water we're using, all these different things. Raising that awareness, like, that brings power back into our hands. The small things that we do, you know, and that's where it begins.
I was always really scared of the effects of climate change and how it may end up affecting my life. I was crying myself asleep from nightmares of destruction of forests, cutting down forests, blank fields of roots of trees, and those dreams at night were what got me motivated to take action.
The amount of plastic that we consume in our daily lives is truly astronomical, and you don't really think about it till you start to add up, like everything like the plastic water bottles you drink, the plastic forks you might grab on the go at a restaurant. That plastic, it doesn't just, you know, degrade into the ocean or you know, somehow magically disappear in a landfill. It's always going to be here. It takes hundreds and hundreds of years for that stuff to break down. By and large, it usually ends up in the stomachs of ocean animals.
Everybody in Earth Guardians has made me feel at home everywhere I go, and it's changed the way I see the world and people in it, because it's not all bad, and sometimes it feels hopeless, and that's all there is bad and greed. But there's so many amazing people out there, and I don't think I would have the power in my voice that I do now without Earth Guardians giving me that reassurance of, hey, it's gonna be okay, we're in this together.
I do not want to spend my time marching in the streets with a sign or standing out in the pouring rain screaming for change. That's not what we want, and that's not what this can be, what activism has to be based out of. It has to be based out of our passions, what you're interested in, what you love, and fighting to protect that with your community of people. And so that's what I absolutely love about permaculture and Earth Guardians, is because it brings that family together to fight for change.
The fashion industry is the third largest polluter in the world.
The problems are huge. They're overwhelming, they're depressing, they're heartbreaking. That's why youth all over the world are standing up and shouting, enough is enough. We gotta keep the oil in the ground, people. We gotta say no to single-use plastics. We gotta step it up and put solar panels on every roof.
People love coming together for fashion. And so for us to actually build this brand where it's sustainably made, as well as using our voices through our art, is huge.
And I think that's the best way to get involved, is just to really educate yourself and make sure that you have the education, that you have the knowledge. By using my voice as an activist, by being active in my community and my political system, I've created positive change in a direction that I want. I've seen my city grow to be better for it. I've seen my state grow to be better for it. And I've seen my community grow to be better for it. And I think that's really all one can ask for.
Now that I've started taking action, I feel like I'm doing something, and that helps me. Yeah, I can go to bed now.
This work has directly impacted me and my view of the world because it brought me up out of my sadness. You realize that we're all in this together, that there is no difference between humans and the grass and the water and the coquinas. The first step in taking action is always to care. If you don't care, how can you possibly find that community that cares as well?
My name is Scott. I'm an Earth Guardian. Are you in?
My name is Mia Eastman. I'm an Earth Guardian. Are you in?
My name is Marlo Baines. I'm an Earth Guardian. Are you in?
I'm Aji Piper. Are you in?
My name is Sierra Robinson, and I'm using permaculture to help reform our agriculture systems. Are you in?
My name's Eska. Are you in?
My name is Alexandra Trevino. I'm an Earth Guardian. Are you in?
Let's give it up for Earth Guardians. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen Nana. Give it up for Nana on stage. She's taking down insights. She's taking down fresh ideas. So we will have those outside of the tent that you can circle afterwards, what resonates with you. Right now we have some young, incredible Earth Warriors right now. Let's give it up for them.
Check. Are the mics? Okay, great. First off, Shatta, Scott, and Marlo, I want to thank you so much for all of your work with Earth Guardians, for bridging so many communities and cultures across the globe, for empowering and inspiring action through creative communication, and for giving a voice and a platform for frontline communities who need the most help immediately. So thank you so much for all of your work. It is a true honor to be here and to be a part of Earth Guardians. Big round of applause. So we want to know, what are the next steps for 2019? What is the action that's going to look like on the ground? What are your next initiatives for Earth Guardians?
Definitely. Thank you so much, Emily, for your leadership, for your voice, for being up here on the stage with us. All the Earth Guardians in the audience, all the family out here. Shout out to everybody who pull up. Worldwide, all the Earth Guardians, all the family that's doing all the incredible work. 2019 is an incredibly exciting, really big year for us. One thing that I want to touch on very briefly is the representation of diverse voices in our movement is absolutely critical. And I think a lot of times we have seen the environmental movement really lack that and lack the conversations that really bring to the table and understanding that our environment is not an isolated issue that is separate from our humanity. And when we look at every issue from gender equality to social justice to indigenous rights and sovereignty, those issues are intrinsically linked with when we talk about clean air, clean water, protecting our future, addressing our climate crisis. So Earth Guardians is working on launching a training program that begins this summer, where we're going to be bringing 50 indigenous young people from around Turtle Island, North America, to come together and receive training from we're partnering with various different organizations to bring forth this training and have indigenous elders, wisdom keepers, teachers, environmental activists, frontlines, water protectors to come and share knowledge, to share their teachings, and to really work really closely with this group of indigenous young people to look at environmental justice and decolonization and how we can really help give indigenous youth in this nation and really share the voices that are already so powerfully at the forefront, and really just highlighting the work that is already being done and continuing to build the skills to do that across the board. So as the years continue, we're going to be opening up more and more of these training programs to give these tools, resources, and connections to young warriors, having training specifically for an indigenous youth, and then opening it up to youth of all communities as well. So by next summer, we're hoping to see 2 to 3 to 4 trainings throughout the summer, where we're bringing young people of all cultural backgrounds, all walks of life, to come really dive into the work. How do we truly support your voice, your passion, really elevating and reaching the world? And that's something I'm very passionate about. It starts May 27th, day before my mom's birthday. So we're gonna be celebrating in a good way out on sacred land in Arkansas, and grateful for my relatives. Jason as well, who's here with us, and many of the young people and the indigenous representation that is here at this conference. But yeah, so Earth Guardians is getting going really in with that one as well. Excited.
Hi everybody. Can you hear me? Oh, there we go. My name is Marlo Baines. I'm the Global Crew Director for Earth Guardians. So briefly to explain what that means, we have 250 crews in 55 countries. We're a global organization, and my job pretty much is to figure out how can we connect 250 young people, young groups of people together, while also giving them the effective tools and resources to become leaders in our world. It's a huge deal, and so right now a big initiative that I'm working on is trying to create a system unto which it's so easy for us to go and connect in. And that's a lot of back-end work. I mean, I could go into logistics of CRMs and having to create, mass spreadsheets, but that's the boring stuff, but we need it. So the second thing, though, that we're working on right now, and something that we're hoping to launch by 2020, is virtual trainings in kind of the business side of activism. So we're talking public speaking, leveraging PR and media, financing your movement, organizational skills, so making sure you know how to take notes, how to facilitate a good, effective meeting, how to take next steps, and then how to plan a very effective campaign. And that's going to take time and resources, and luckily enough, we're going to be able to gather around 10 of our biggest youth leaders within our movement, and to talk about what that framework is going to look like back in June, so next month. And it's super important to do that because we need those skills. I mean, we're seeing the climate strikes happening. We've seen amazing actions happen with, reforestation, water rights, frontline actions. But the thing that also happens when you're a youth leader is sometimes you don't know where to start. And you don't know where you need those kind of skills that kind of the adults know, but as a, 15-year-old, you may not know how to start, put together an agenda, and that's important. So anyways, that's kind of what we're working on right now, is trying to give those effective tools and resources so that we can have these youth leaders go into our world.
Agreed, and I just wanted to add something, thank you so much, Marlo, is that Earth Guardians, as you saw in the video, the focus of Earth Guardians, rather than attacking or addressing any one issue specifically, is about building the most collaborating and partnering with people worldwide to build the most connected and robust platform for young people to be able to leverage and utilize their voice and passion to create systemic change, create cultural change, beginning with the first steps of our impact in our lives and our communities. And so we have Earth Guardian crews all over the world tapping in a variety of different ways, whether that's permaculture, the fashion industry, whether that's looking at, we have young girls doing flash mob performances using theater in the streets of Mumbai to educate people around clean water, and environmental education, working with orphans in the slums out there to bring them up and empower and inspire young girls to talk about an environmental conversation. So it's really diverse. Myself with my music and my hip hop, our generation is a reflection of a generation that is building a movement that is so much deeper than any one cause, any one interest, any one approach to activism. It is going to take all of us. It is going to take all of our different specified skill sets, our different passions. And that for me is like what the energy of Earth Guardians is working to embody, is like how do we capture the unique energy our generation has and share that with the world and continue to amplify all the work that is already being done. Young people more than ever have a platform and have recognition around the work we're doing, from Greta Thunberg and the climate strikes and the Student Divestment Network and all the things that are happening. But young people, as we have seen, have been at the forefront throughout history. Every great social movement throughout history, young people have been at the forefront. Earth Guardians is doing our part and would love to collaborate with all of you to continue to carry that torch. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marlo, Scott, all of the Earth Guardians present, and everyone here who is helping to make these things happen. Thank you. This is what our world needs. So is there anything that Earth Guardians is looking for or needs from support or a potential partnership? What would that look like, and how can we help you to make these leadership trainings and communications happen and be executed?
We need mentorship. So if we have any adults in the room who are like entrepreneurs or are really great at public speaking, or maybe even public speaking coaches, if you have, a background in business, like we need your guys' voices, because as a 17-year-old, like I obviously do not have the skills needed to, go and fundraise $100,000. So we would love that support. And I mean, a second thing though is financially. Like it's kind of expensive, and we want
it's really expensive.
Yeah. And I mean, something that we see as a goal is raising over like $200,000 so that we can bring on another like 10 to 15 youth part-time, or even giving more stipends to our youth leaders, because what we've realized is that it's amazing to see what youth are capable, especially when they have that little bit of financial means so that they can go out and do the work that they can.
I was going to add to that too. My mom has been doing this work since 1992, where she had a vision of young people standing up and changing the world everywhere, and she has executed that vision by starting an accredited high school in Maui, Hawaii, that was the original iteration of Earth Guardians, that then toured to 29 states across the U.S. and ended in the United Nations, where the Dalai Lama gave them the Children's Torch of Hope to carry across the nation on this tour. The spirit and the energy of Earth Guardians goes so much deeper than just another nonprofit. That my parents met on that tour, where my father was doing work representing Mexico and spirituality, culture, and the environment, speaking at many youth conferences, and came to ceremonial light and extinguished this sacred torch that they were given. So the energy of Earth Guardians goes so deep, and mom has been doing this work my entire life growing up, and she only started getting like full-time work, and she only started getting paid like maybe 3-4 years ago, and she has like fearlessly and courageously put all of her spirit and her heart into building this movement, because she so believes that the most important work that she can do as a mother and as a warrior is to help protect this earth for me, my little sister, my little bro, and then her grandkids, you know, for future generations. And so shouts out to Mom. And like we need to build a really strong team around Mom. You know, like we need a lot of help in that area. Mom, can you stand up one time? Make some noise for Mom Tamarowski. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, something I wanted to add is that the reason why we're doing this work is that we believe in a more just and sustainable future. And another thing is that we will have a future. That is the huge piece of this work. That's our why. That's what we do every single day. And that's what we're creating. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you so much. Now we are going to break out and ask you guys in the audience to break out into groups of 4, talk about your current initiatives and projects that you are working on and what kind of support you need, and then we will come back together and convene and share our initiatives and what kind of partnerships we're looking for.
So isn't Emily great, you all?
Shout out Emily one time.
So before you do that, I didn't introduce you earlier, but I just want to say that I actually have rarely met as amazing a young leader as Ms. Emily is. I would like, really, she led our whole track in the last couple of days for the last few weeks and months. You've been an amazing collaborator, and I've been honored to work with you. I would like you to actually stand up and be acknowledged.
Thank you all. I'm here because of you guys. Thank you. You guys have taught me everything, given me everything. I actually just started my climate work pretty recently, but you've inspired me, and these youth in this room have inspired me because the youth here are choosing to be alive and choosing to survive in a time with so much chaos and so much death all the time. This movement is choosing to survive. Thank you all for empowering me, inspiring me, and teaching me everything that I know today. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay, so, and I know you're working with Climate Reality Project too. So what the idea was to actually break into a little bit larger groups. And what we're going to do right now is, if you came with a group and you're part of a group that's working in this work, or you're with some other people interested in this, if you can break into like groups of 5 or 6, and I don't know if there's ties on the chairs anymore. I think that there are ties. Okay, so just what we're going to do is, you're going to get into groups of 5 or 6, and just what we just did, they'll be modeling, and Emily will be help facilitating, is that you're going to say who you are, where you're from, what organization or group you're working with or interested in working with, what you are doing right now, and that's what I want to, and then what are you offering and what are you looking for? And we're going to scribe a report back out. So we're going to have to be pretty succinct to get that done. So if you just say where you're from and your group and what you're doing, and then we'll do a report out on what you're looking for. Yeah. Oh, and my favorite friend Nate here is going to come around to the groups and give everyone paper and pen in case you want to write that down. Does that make sense to everyone? And if you're just with 2 or 3 people, can you just find another few people? And we're going to do that. And let's get into the groups right now. This is where this whole Earth's Call is about exchanging information, what we're bringing and what we're looking for, and how we're going to report that out. And then we're going to report that back, and we're going to have some amazing additional speakers. So we would love for the intergenerational experience to continue, and young people and adult allies to stay in the room to support the work. Okay, so can we try to keep it relatively quiet in the room while we do this? Can you guys just find the people close to you so we can get started? This is the interactive part where how we're going to find out who's all here and what's the important work that the youth leaders are doing and what support they need. So I would encourage the adult allies to also remain in the room.
Great. Yeah.
talk to her.
Fresh ideas and what you need. Think about fresh ideas, people. Collaborative, fresh ideas that we can come up with right now.
Okay, y'all, we got to wrap this section up. I know it's not very long. But the idea is for everyone to meet each other and, as Nate said, come up with the reporting a fresh idea and what it is you're looking for in partnership. So please wrap up your conversation, and we're going to start having some report outs. Thank you.
So my fresh idea is, well, we all know about nutrition labels on types of food, but what about putting footprint labels on just items, like carbon, water, other resources? Yeah.
Cool. That's an awesome one. I love that. All right, who's next? All right, do we have another? Oh, I think we have one over here. Oh, we have one over there too.
Before we leave them, could we hear what they think they would need to put it into action?
Oh, yeah.
What helps you get across?
What do you need? Thank you.
This is an exchange, yeah.
Need we would need legislation and just cooperation, like among the public and manufacturers. So, yeah. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right. Do we have one right here?
My name is Angela Nada. I'm with World Tree. It's trees that draw down carbon, the existing carbon in the planet. We can protect ecosystems and rainforests by having our farmers grow the trees. This particular tree was grown in Georgia, and when the tree gets cut down and harvested for the beautiful wood, it grows back another tree for 7 generations. So our ask is that you invest in the trees so that we can give it to farmers and they can have a legacy for future generations for their families that so lovingly put so many gifts on our plates that keep us alive. Let's just draw down that carbon with these beautiful, beautiful trees for farming. Organic tree farming.
Fabulous. All right.
Our ask is investors.
All right, who's next? Who's next? All right, we have one over here.
We have a great intergenerational group over there. Yay. Supporting the youth leaders.
So what our fresh new idea was, or is, to bring down single-use plastics within professional sports, as in like NFL and NBA, because they use a lot of single-use plastic stuff that they use once and then they throw it away, and that's a lot of excess waste, and it's just not good.
What are some next steps? Do you see? What do you see?
Probably getting professional athletes, like getting them on board.
Start talking to them?
Start talking to them, because professional athletes have a lot of following, and if you could get their following, and they also have lots of money, so.
Brilliant idea, Votes. All right, who else? Oh, we have one over here. Turn towards the camera. Yeah, there we go.
So our fresh idea is that kids can help monitor whales by taking pictures of tails and then sending them into places so they can see how far they've traveled, and they can also monitor where they're getting mainly polluted. So, okay.
Cool. And I think we have next one over here.
And if when you guys talk, you guys could just mention either like what organization, what crew you are from. It'd be dope.
Hello. Not a totally new idea, but it has to do with building networks globally with the organizations that are here and with schools to have a pipeline of media. I'm an impact producer for documentary films that relate to the environment. So instead of doing one-offs every time a new film comes through the pipeline, that we're creating a whole new organism structure for impact campaigns, to have an organization that focuses on impact campaigns with films that can be used as cornerstones for events and for to inspire and educate young people around the world, that then these organizations that are here can use to forward the movements and to make that an NGO that's a sustainable entity.
I think we have Haven. Do you want to? Yeah, there you go.
So, I'm from US Youth Climate Strike, the organization I'm the co-executive director. But so we use striking for getting adults to actually listen and start acting in the right way. But then we also do, we're mixing in politics as well as education to youth to how they can get involved. So we really, this is not really a fresh idea, but we really need money because we can't afford really anything. Because events are really expensive. They are, and since we have almost all 50 states, we can't do that. So events, we need resources for outreach and just partners because other organizations' wisdom is really helpful since we've only been around since January. What? Me personally? Oh, so the organization, so US Youth Climate Strike is an organization of youth, it's only youth unless the 3 people who are over 18, which is only 20 or 19, sorry. But, so it's an organization of youth that's using striking to influence adults to actually start acting in the right way or in the right amount of way of acting out. So, and we also are trying to get climate change to the forefront of American politics and educating youth through how they can get involved. Since we all know about climate change, we just need to know how to act on it. So having boot camps and education and that stuff. We're partnered with pretty much any climate organization. Okay, so we've got 350, Sierra Club, we've got Earth Guardians, Greenpeace. We've got 20 others. Sorry. This is hard to label them all.
No, it's okay. Thank you so much, Haven. So yeah. And also just to add, the US Climate Strikes was inspired by Greta Thunberg, and Haven herself has been striking almost every Friday for over 3 or 4 months now, or even 5, so. Do we have one more?
Yeah, Mikey, would you like to help out with what Climate Reality is up to also? Yeah.
It's helping youth groups. That's what the focus of it, just to be clear again.
So if you want to just introduce 100% energy commitments.
Sure. Hey, so I'm Mike Jacobs, and I work with Climate Reality Project on the statewide 100% Committed campaign, which is trying to help Colorado commit to 100% renewable electricity by 2030. I think that this is just a really important goal to work on because it helps kind of alleviate the pressure towards renewable energy, which is a very difficult task. I think it makes everything a little bit more feasible. And as a youth, they've really given me a platform to spread, all my energy and enthusiasm for this fight. And yeah, really, really happy and excited to be part of it.
Do you have an ask or anything that you guys need support on?
Coalition building right now, we are this summer really focused on branching out, making as many different partners as we can. We want our plan and our initiative for this campaign to really be as well versed as possible So coalition building is really what we're working on right now. If you'd like to connect with me afterwards, I'd love to chat and tell you a little bit more in depth about how we can start working together.
Great, yes. Also, to go off of that, something that we need to continuously be striking and going at this in every single way we can, testifying, lobbying.
Absolutely.
Just like Shatescott's doing in the Juliana versus the United States case, every single way we need to go at getting these energy commitments. And after they're made, we still need to strike. It is still important to hold our leaders accountable. Yeah, and support the Mark Jacobson Stanford report of a roadmap of how 139 countries can actually get to 100% renewable energy by 2050, which Marlo knows an unbelievable amount about.
Yay, y'all are such a great example of Planet 911. You guys didn't go yet? Your group didn't go? Okay, we're actually gonna, it has to be really short. Okay, we're gonna do this because they're a group. Heather? We have one more group that's a bunch of youth, but be very succinct. What is it you're offering and what is it you're looking for? And be very succinct if you can. And then we're wrapping this component up.
Hi everyone, my name is Leanna Nixon. I work with an organization called Speak, and we use theater and project-based learning to create curriculums specifically for women to raise their civic voices. Women are monumental in actually creating change and sustainability within their communities. And we are looking for networks to help us in bringing our curriculums for long-term relationships in certain communities that we're already working in, such as Guatemala, United States, and Tanzania. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So this is at the beginning, like you've been saying. This is the beginning, and this is why it's wonderful that we have this app coming out, and you guys are all networking. And if you want to bring your papers, if you didn't get to say everything, up to Nana. I'm sure she'd be delighted to continue the scribing. And we're going to make sure we keep connecting to weave all your brilliance together. Let's give the Earth Guardians a big hand up here, and thank you. And is that okay? We got to wrap. And we... Thank you all. And if you'd like to come back closer together, we're going to have an amazing, actually, Chetescott, would you do the honor and introduce Jacelyn? Would you like to introduce Jacelyn? Would you like to come up on stage? We have an amazing leader from the Sioux tribe who has been working for several years. I met her just recently, and we were so amazed by her that we collectively, just like Earth's Call does, made a call and made sure that she got here from Oklahoma. So can you please welcome to the stage, Jacelyn. And do you want people to, are you good with how everyone is? Just have them stay where they are?
Hey everybody, Jacelyn Amachepi, Jantenape, Chuzapi, Wambipaha Maktaha. Hey everybody, my name is Jacelyn Charger. I am from Eagle Butte, South Dakota, from the Cheyenne River Sioux Lakota Oyate. I'm really excited to be here. I'm like really pumped up because like I'm hearing a lot of youth, you know, really at the forefront of each climate action, each climate movement across the world, from Bali to New York, from each movement, from, you know, 350 through, you know, Earth Guardians, and it's empowering, and it's amazing. And I want to give this, like, just a pre-shout out to all the young people here. I commend all you, because, like, this is our future, it's our generation, it's our choice, and we're experiencing that, we're expressing it, and it's badass. You guys are awesome. I just want to talk a little bit about what I do. Well, first I want to talk a little bit about myself, how I got into climate action. It's really weird for me to say that word because in our indigenous culture, climate action, we don't really use it all that much because climate action, it's you know, just the word water protector. It's a label that people can connect to, that people can plug in, and it's an identity. And it's not a political movement. We do it because of survival, because we have to. And, you know, just listening to everybody, and I'm kind of scared to tell everybody about what we do, because, like, everybody here is, like, all inspirational. And then with youth that I work with, it's hard, you know. It's hard for youth on the front lines. I work with a lot of youth on the front lines. We cater to over 75 youth across a span of four tribal communities, and they're all on the front lines, you know, battling man camps, you know, facing, you know, private security, you know, women coming together, you know, no more stolen sisters, young people coming together, and, you know, I'm sorry, I'm trying to express this in a way I feel like you can understand, but I ain't gonna do that, you know. Always try to express myself so people can understand, but I feel the best way is to be real. Just, you know, just be real. Sometimes real hurts, you know, but what we do with the 7th Defenders, we cater to the 14% of underprivileged, homeless youth. And we did a study out of it. When people call the masses, 15%, 20% of those people are youth. And 15% of that 20% youth are homeless, disadvantaged. People don't have sponsors. People don't have money. People who don't have access to movements like y'all are doing. And those are the people, you know, we help. Those are young people who need us the most. And it will surprise you how much young people who are forgotten, how much indigenous youth who don't get invited to a lot of things to get funding. And, you know, those are the people who are on the ground. And in the Standing Rock movement, I was in the beginning of it all the way until we were forcibly moved on February 27th of 2017. And, you know, there was we called a lot of people, you know, through the runs from Omaha, Nebraska to Washington, D.C., that's 2,000 miles young people ran for the future. And it was all young people. The youngest we had, her name was Wachoni, which in our language means life. And the oldest was a Rosebud woman. She was 62 years old. And we expressed something. We expressed our concerns, because even the people in our communities and our tribal council people and the people who are in power, like, you know, Donald Trump, weren't listening to us. And I know as a young person, it's really hard to get older people to listen to us, to hear what we have to say and take us seriously and, you know, heed our calls and come support us. It's really hard, you know. And I see all these young people coming and speaking and, you know, saying what they have to say because we need support, because we need people, you know, to mentor. Not only that, to stand behind us as a generation. And I like what this is, like an intergenerational movement, because that's what we need to do. Enough with, you know, how old you are, the age, you know. In our culture, you aren't an adult until you've experienced all you've had, and you carry that wisdom for the next generations. We don't have an age that limits that. You know, you're a young person as how much fire you got in your heart. And that's what me and the 7th generations, or 7th Defenders, we really work towards, you know. And I'm sorry, I gotta move around. But just saying in that, and just seeing all these young people here, we traveled to 14 different states across the US, uniting different tribes, uniting different youth from all across the country who have voices, who have medicine, who have stories. And we link them together. We take them, we mentor them. I mean, I've been doing this for 7 years, but there's little kids who have a lot to say. And we give them a voice, we give them a platform. We take them, we fundraise, and we do it all without our own pocket. Right now, in the state of South Dakota, our work is illegal. We get over a decade in prison and over $10,000 in fines. And that's what I'm facing. But as Indigenous people, our existence is our resistance. But beyond that, our action, our creativeness, our art is our resistance. And that's what will be remembered throughout time, throughout the country, throughout the world. It will echo, it will flow, just like the waves, just like, you know, people in Hawaii, people in Switzerland, Greta, you know. We're all doing this together. And that's what the Seventh Offenders. And the reason why we call it the Seventh Offenders, it's a prophecy about our Lakota people, that the young people, 7th generations from the first colonization, that we will flip the world upside down and we will rise up and we take everything back. And just saying that, I want to close out. I want to thank all you be here. I want to thank all the youth. Keep doing what you're doing. You know, we support you. And I love all you guys.
So, do we still have Heather available? So, we were going to welcome back up Marlo, Chetescott, Emily to do a wrap up of what's next for the movements. But actually, I was so moved by that. Can we give Jacelyn another hand? She's representing so many youth out there. We want to honor and appreciate you. So there's lots of different ways that you've mentioned and folks have mentioned of mentoring and supporting. While yes, funding is obviously one thing that every initiative needs, there's lots of other ways that adult allies can support with their thought leadership, their mentorship, their conversation, just helping guide through the process. And I wondered, as one next step, if folks would be willing that are adult allies to stand up in the room if you want to support young people and you're willing to just have a conversation with a young person about what they're doing. Would adult allies be willing to stand up and say, yes, we'll do that? Okay. Beautiful, thank you. So there's a good next step for you, and there's amazing organizations being represented. You guys want to come back up? Yeah. So what we had in mind for this is that if folks have events that are happening, like Chetescott, I don't know if you already shared about the Indigenous Youth Camp that's happening, but things that are happening in the next year that we want to have on people's radars. There's also an amazing opportunity. There's, as Chetescott shared when he was talking about the app, Earth Guardians and Earth Tracks is partnering with Leo DiCaprio's new film, Ice on Fire, and there's actually a photo shoot. Jessica's in the back right there. Raise your hand, Jessica. If you'd like to be part of the outreach campaign to have the voice of youth be at the forefront of the outreach of that film when HBO airs it in June, please go see Jessica and do a photo shoot after you leave here. And we'll have time all day to do that, right? Intermittently. So we would love for any and all youth leaders to be the faces of the youth movement globally when that film goes out to the world, to millions and millions of people, right? So do you want to co-lead this? Yeah.
Sure, thank you. One thing I briefly wanted to say about youth alliances and partnership with adult generations is that youth do not only want to be included right now. We need to be listened to, we need to partner with adults, and we really need for adults to listen to our solutions. And when we put in a ton of work and present our solutions, we do need more help having them executed and put into action. Especially because something that we're striking for and fighting for is science to be put into policy, and a lot of work for your generation to be put into policy, and we really respect the work that has been done, and we look up to it, and we want that to be a two-way street. So I thank you all for helping us to do that, and we're looking for the attitude of not just, you know, there's a little flaw in the solution, it's a good idea in theory, but let's scrap it because it's not perfect. We want the attitude of, okay, this is good, how can we make this work? How can we see this be put into action, and how can we help you do that? And so that's just a brief input that I wanted to say about this partnering and alliances, and thank you for listening. Do you have anything to contribute to our next steps?
Yeah, I mean, it's just to do a little recap on some of the stuff Earth Guardians has got popping off in the next 6 to 9 months. We are launching a Native youth training to address, just first of all, I want to acknowledge my relative Jacelyn, who came up here and really, shared a really powerful message and story, and that's very difficult reality for a lot of Native young people across the country. And so the Native youth training that we're going to be launching this May is going to be a beginning of a really important focus for Earth Guardians to put more energy, resources, time to build and empower the Native youth leaders that are already existing and doing incredible work, to funnel funding into the projects, to create Earth Guardian crews on all these different tribal lands as well. So that's happening. It's going to continue for the next several years in the future as well. So you can look up earthguardians.org to learn more about these projects, to reach out to us personally, to see how you can contribute and get involved with that as well. Another thing is that Marlo has, so one thing that we're doing as an organization is we're changing the governance structure of the organization to be distributed, and so young people have more of a voice and a say in the actual direction of how the organization is being run. So that's going to be the launching of like the Earth Guardians Youth Council. It's going to be happening hopefully this summer. It's another project that we got underway to help kind of just like put young people back really at the forefront of the power of the direction of the organization. If you wanted to contribute about the trainings.
Yeah, okay, so then kind of two things also that have come to mind. So first of all, I talked briefly about the virtual trainings. We need to create those. They need to come out as soon as possible. So we're hoping to just kind of continue to push forward. We'll have that youth gathering in June, and then after that, we're hoping to have tangible next steps so that, you know, our community can really plug in and say, yes, we can help this way, and the youth can say, yes, we can help this way. A second thing, too, that I wanted to mention is that the Juliana versus the United States court case will be going to trial on June 4th. It's kind of a huge deal. And then something else I did want to mention too is that another partner, Future Coalition, is doing this campaign called I Am Juliana Plaintiff. And if you go to Future Coalition, you can sign up more about that. But what we're kind of planning on doing is doing these press releases all across the nation, talking about, as youth, what do we want, and how are we going to bring this forward, and as youth, what do we see as our future? So you can learn more about that at Future Coalition's website. It's kind of being headed by youth, so this is a complete kind of for youth by youth sort of campaign, but we also need the support of our elders and our mentors.
Yeah, and lastly, we have an Earth Guardian, Fernando Garcia Crespo. He has put together a people's platform for a livable future, which is 7 goals of the youth movement that have been reviewed by and contributed to by youth in over 50 countries and IPCC scientists. And this is something that we want to help make our goals cohesive around the globe with striking. And another thing that Fernando is putting together is a Youth Global Council for a Livable Future. And now we need applicants for this. If you look it up online, there should be that. And they also need funding to get this started because it is going to be bridging grassroots organizations all over the world. And it is just under that council name. It is not under one organization. And where the funding will go is to the grassroots organizations that need funding most, that can't afford a cell phone to get in contact and communication with the global movement. It is going to the organizations that absolutely need it the most and are on the front lines of that. And so please look up the People's Platform for a Livable Future and the Global Youth Council for a Livable Future.
Yeah.
So
I'm wondering, can we open it up for questions? Or yeah, offerings, questions, whatever, questions and comments. If you want.
I just want to invite the youth. We're doing an event November 2nd in Plains, Georgia with Jimmy Carter and honoring him at his 95th birthday. And it's a legacy event. And my ask is for you to look at what your legacy is going to be. What are you leaving when you leave? And we invite the youth to come to that event with us. All the proceeds that we raise we're live streaming it around the world. We're auctioning off beautiful wood products. Famous musicians are showing up to play, and the money that we raise will be donated to youth and their programs and what matters for them inside their legacy. So if you're interested and you want to be a part of that legacy event, please let us know. We'd be happy to be with our youth there.
Thank you. All right, more questions, comments?
Part of the hat that I have is helping to transfer the public school system in Aruba toward a more child-centered approach. And anyone here that has some ideas on how we could connect the youth with, for example, programs like you, would be awesome. And I also really want to commend what you said, that it's not about all these different separate actions. It's about really creating a new humanity. And that's the other hat that I have, is I'm writing that book about allowing that new humanity unfold in each one of us so that it can support this new world that you guys are helping to create. So thank you.
Thank you. Something else I wanted to mention is if there's any if there's any mentors, any adult mentors who want to come and talk to any of us, youth who've kind of proposed a project, please come up and talk to us. I know I'd be very, very interested to hear what you have to say, your thoughts, your ideas, if you just want to network and connect. So anyways, I just wanted to mention that. All right, I think we have another hand.
Hello, my name is Tony Kusakrea. I'm from Canada. We are here to bring lots of love to our cousins all over the world. 3 years ago, I started a movement that is getting back to the realities, to the good things of life, and we're forgetting about helping others through love. I'm talking about love from the heart, not some of the phony love that goes around the world. And what we want to do is cooperate with everyone. First of all, I also want to congratulate everyone here today, all the great works that you're doing. What we would like to do is give you an ingredient that I think will help all of us. We need to work together. All the organizations, the whole world has got to get behind it. And our mission is to smother the world with love. And thank you.
We're actually out of time in this session, so
okay.
Tell them about the book real quick, because
Okay. Yeah, so all we want you to do, what we need is to spread the love throughout the world. It is the greatest tool on earth to get us and win us at all. Bring back humanity, bring back the world. We all deserve it. Let's do it.
Thank you. All right.
Hey, Slater here with the film Youth Unstoppable. First off, I love what you guys are doing, and we need to do all the cool things together. Just side note. But yeah, I have this film. It's going to be launching in September during UN Climate Week. We're wanting to make it available to all of the youth climate strikers to really see the history of where they've come from, of this movement of young people, all the way back to 1992, and seeing this story of how the next generation is really rising and embracing love and embracing our shared humanity. And I would love for anyone, if you want to be a part of that, if you want to be a part of how we're spreading this story and this, this movie, please come up to me and we'll talk about things. And my website is youthunstoppable.com, but just come up to me.
Yeah. Look it says 0. Excellent timing. So I do want to mention one thing, that tonight, on this very grounds, how we can all get together, is Chetescott and his full band are playing, and also ETF, DJ Kavum, they're all going to be spinning and playing and rocking it, so we want you all to come join that, right? Okay, cool. And speaking of the power of music, art, and culture, we also have a musical guest who's about to join us. So let's give a big hand to everyone in the room and to the Earth Guardians. Thank you. So those of you who were at dinner on Friday night had the total pleasure of hearing the awesome Johnny Keach. And those of you who weren't, and those of you who are in for a real treat. So please welcome to the stage again, Mr. Johnny Keach.
Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2, hello. It's an honor to be here, truly is. I want to play a song for you, and for the earth, and for the universe. Oh, wait. want this to the side? Does it matter? You don't need to see my face. I don't have a preference. Thank you. Thanks, man.
Universe, do you care about us? Mother Nature, are you listening? Watching over up above, think she's indifferent. Too busy, tough loving. After all we've done, she can't keep looking anymore. It's the purpose of life, sex and survival. Cells dividing, cells dividing. It's infinite, the circle of life is endless cycles. Cells dividing, cells dividing, cells dividing. It's infinite, the purpose of life is for me to decide. No truth, no meaning, free to choose what we believe in. Universe, do you care about us? Mother Nature, are you listening? Watching over up above, think she's indifferent. Too busy, tough loving. After all we've done, she can't keep looking anymore. The purpose of life, sex and survival. Cells dividing, cells dividing. It's infinite, the circle of life is endless cycles. Cells dividing, cells dividing. It's infinite, the purpose of life is for you to decide. No truth, no meaning, free to choose what we believe in. No truth, no meaning, free. Thank you.
Johnny Keach, everyone. Look it up for Lora O'Connor here. Yes. Close it up, Lora.
So amazing. This is such a great example of what we're holding space for with Planet 911. I actually want to appreciate Michael Kane, who's here from EarthX, who's a co-founder with us of Planet 911, and invite you to check out planet911.org, because your group, we would like to partner with you and help support the telling of your story and the getting it out there into the world and attracting the kinds of partnerships and resources that you would like to have. And we would love to, I want to really thank Melissa in the back of the room, and Nate and Heather and all of the guys behind the board who are angels, believe me, for having pulled this off so beautifully. Our sound crew, everyone who's working here, let's give us all a big hand. Everyone, stand up. Stand up. Appreciate yourselves. Turn around. Hug your neighbor. Thank you. All right. Thanks for joining and bringing your love to Earth's call.